Hello all, this is going to be a tutorial for the February 20th model drawing sheet. We have 3 problems again, one A, one level B, and one level C. So let's jump right on into it. So our first level A problem. Mira paid $240 for 4 pairs of shoes and 4 pairs of shorts. Each pair of shoes cost 4 times as much as a pair of shorts. Find the difference in price between a pair of shoes and a pair of shorts. Okay, so the first thing that I notice about this problem is that we have shoes and we have shorts. So I'm going to go ahead and put in here shoes, and we have shorts. Now one thing I notice right away though is that each pair of shoes is 4 times as much as a pair of shorts. So that's telling me that if I have one pair of shorts, and that represents the cost of that one pair of shorts, I know that one pair of shoes is going to be 4 times more expensive. So that is one pair of shoes right there. That's one pair of shorts. So now we know that she bought more than just one pair of shoes and one pair of shorts. So if I go ahead and put in another pair of shorts, another pair of shorts, and let's say another pair of shorts right here, I know that I need to put in another pair of shoes. That's 4 times as expensive. And another pair of shoes, 4 times as expensive. And of course that last pair of shoes, that's 4 times as expensive. And again, the reason I'm doing that is because it says each pair of shoes costs 4 times as much as a pair of shorts. So if one unit right here represents the cost of one pair of shorts, then 4 units show the cost of a pair of shoes. So here's my 4 pairs of shorts, and up here are my 4 pairs of shoes. Now if we take a look at the clues again, she paid $240 for all of this. So that means, as I'm kind of out of room over here, that means everything right here is worth $240. Well, we know we want to try to figure out what each of these units are worth. Now, if we count up all of our units, I've got 16 units up here, plus these 4. That's going to be a total of 20 units that are worth 240. So, some quick math. That means 1 unit is worth $12. So with that information, we can totally solve this problem now. If 1 unit's worth 12 bucks, then 1 pair of shorts is worth $12. And if a pair of shoes is 4 times as expensive, well, that means that each of these units are also worth 12, or just 12 times 4, which means shoes, we'll put an SH, are worth $48, and a pair of shorts are worth 12. Do we have a way of checking that? Sure. 1 unit's 12, shoes come out to be 48. 48 is indeed 4 times more than 12. If we add all of this up, and we take 48 times 4, and we take 12 times 4, we indeed end up with 240. Booyah. Let's take a look at the second problem. And oh, look at that. I have a typo. That should say Sarah. Sorry. So, Catherine and Sarah each baked some cookies. To begin with, the ratio of Catherine's cookies to Sarah's cookies was 2 to 3. after Sarah, gave half of her cookies to Catherine, Catherine had 28. How many cookies did Catherine have at first, and how many cookies did they make? So, first thing I'm going to do is I know that we're talking about Catherine and Sarah. Not Sandra, Sarah. So, we're also going to take a look at this ratio. The ratio of Catherine's cookies to Sarah's cookies was 2 to 3. So, I'm going to give Catherine 2 units, to Sarah's 3 units. Now the problem tells us that Sarah is going to give half of her cookies to Catherine. That means Catherine's now going to have 28 cookies total. They want to know what she started with first. So these 2 units are what she started with. We don't know what that is yet. Okay? So let's see if we can go ahead and solve this problem. It's telling us to give half of Sarah's units to Catherine. Well, I've got 3 units here. Well, if I chop that 3 in half, right down the middle, it would look something like this. Well, from all of our experience of working with model drawing, I know that if I split 1 unit in half, I'm going to do that to all of them, even Catherine's. Now, looking at it like that makes it much easier to see exactly what I'm actually giving up. Sarah's going to end up giving Catherine 1, 2, 3 units. So let's go ahead and move those 3 units right on up there. Okay? And then you know what? We'll just go right on over here. We'll get rid of those 3 units there. So now, Sarah's given up half of her units to Catherine. Catherine now has 28 total units. So from this spot straight on over is 28. So that means we have 7 units for Catherine that are worth 28 cookies. So some of us using that mental math have already figured out that 1 unit must be worth 4 cookies. So now we can actually go back and solve for the rest of the problem. If each unit is worth 4, that means that these 4 units here are worth 4. So 4 times 4 means that she started with 16. How many cookies did they make in all? Well, we've got 16 here. We have 1, 2, 3, 12 there, and we have 1, 2, 3, 12 cookies there. Or 4, and how many units? 10 total, for an answer of 40. So, they made 40 cookies in all. And Catherine started with 16 cookies. Now, do we have a way of checking our work? Okay, well, let's see. We can take a look at here and say that 16 and 12 equals 28. She does indeed have a total of 28 cookies now. 28 divided by 7 gives us 4 units. 4 times 4, 16. Okay, excellent. That checks out. But let's go back to that very first clue of 2/3. If Catherine originally started with 2 units and Sarah had 3 units. Now, if everything checks out, we should end up with a ratio of 2 to 3. We already know that they made a total of 40 cookies. 40 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 means that each of these is going to be worth 8. That means then that here is a total of 16. Oh, wait a minute. That checks out because that's what we got up here. And Sarah started off with 24. They're supposed to have a ratio of 2 to 3. So, is 2 to 3 equal to 16 over 24? Well, if I divide 16 by 8, I get 2. If I divide 24 by 8, I get 3. So, not only did our work over here check out, but our check in the end checks out as well. No pun intended. Booyah. Okay, last problem. Peg was making punch for the staff reception. As she filled the container, she realized that 6 bottles of cranberry juice took up 4/7 of the container. The rest of the container was filled with 2 bottles plus 10 cups of lemonade. If the bottles of cranberry juice and lemonade were the same size, how many cups did the container hold? So to start solving this problem, we're going to go ahead and create a unit bar. We're going to create a unit bar that's showing 4/7. So let's go ahead and create our unit bar as neatly as possible. See how completely crooked my lines can be. Okay, so there we've got one giant unit bar. We're going to go ahead and put in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now 4 of these units right here, there's our 4, are going to be worth 6 bottles. That means that over here our 3 units are worth 2 bottles and 10 cups. Let's quickly revisit that question. How many cups did the container hold? We're trying to figure out how many cups are in this entire container. In order to do that, we really should start by figuring out the relationship between the units and the bottles. I have a feeling that if we do that, we can figure it out. So, let's see. Over here, let's start with these 6 bottles. Now, I only have 4 units to work with, and I've got 6 bottles. So, how many bottles can I put into each of those units? Okay, well, if we're thinking about it that way, that's pretty much just 6 divided by 4. I have 6 bottles. I want to see how many ways I can split them evenly amongst 4 units. Well, 6 divided by 4 is just 1.5. Okay, so that's telling me that I can get 1.5 bottles in each of these units. So let's see, I'm going to put 1.5 in here. That gives me 1.5 in there, 1.5 in here, and then 1.5 in there. Okay, yep. Let's see if we can try to make that look like a 2. Alright, so that makes sense. Each of these units can hold 1.5 bottles. Now when I take that information over to this side, I have to now try to figure out how many units are worth 2 bottles. Well, here I've already figured out that 1 unit's worth 1.5. So let's just go ahead and put in the values for each of these and see if we can possibly see a connection here. So if I go ahead and put in here that this one is also worth 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. Well, let's see. Here's 1.5 bottles. Okay, that is 1.5 bottles right there. I need 2. So clearly, in order to get my 2, I'm going to have to take something from this unit right here. Well, this unit is 1.5 bottles itself. Really, what do I need? I need that half. So, how do I get that half out of that bottle? That unit's worth 1.5. A half. One bottle could be split into halves. One bottle split into halves would be 2 halves, plus that third half. That's 1.5, but it's 3 1/2s. Wait a second. If I take that unit right there and I split it into thirds, and this is a half, this is a half, and this is a half, I would be giving up this one right there. So, wait a minute. Let's just go ahead and do that to the rest of these. Let's do that to these two. I'll do it to these guys over there in a second. So 1.5 bottles. Okay, 1.5 bottles. Here's a half, here's a half. And here's a half. This is one bottle right here. Then that would mean that this is 2 bottles. Right? A half and a half is 1 bottle. A half and a half is 2 bottles. So I could then say that, wait a minute, 2/3 is worth 1 bottle. Right? 2 out of 3 is 1 bottle. But 1 whole unit and 1/3 is worth 2. So 1 1/3 is worth 2 bottles. Okay. Alright. Do I got my 2 bottles? Yes. So that must mean that if these 4 units right here are worth 2 bottles, then the rest of this right here is worth 10 cups. Well, let's see if we get lucky. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah. 5 units are worth 10 cups. That means 1 unit is worth 2 cups. I think I just figured this out. If 1 unit's worth 2 cups, I can now go back and figure out how much the entire container held. But let's be careful. I took these and I split them into thirds because that's what initially gave me a way to get 1.5 and pull a half out, because this split 3 ways is a half, and a half. So that must mean I need to come on back over here and I need to split each of these into thirds, 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 and thirds. So now, if 1 unit is worth 2 cups, how many units do I have here total now? Well, I started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. I've now taken those 7 units and I've split each of them into 3 units. Well, that's 7 of 3. That's a total of 21 units. Well, 21 units are worth 2 cups each, so that's 21. And we'll multiply that times 2 cups. That equals 42. So Peg's container holds 42 cups.